So it's a Saturday, and we are headed to the shop to go and play with big blocks today. We had minus 26 at Christmas time, and yesterday was plus 5 and the roads were dry, and it is now January. I do not know what to think of this winter. It is really weird to make plans. We've had a tough time filming in December because of the cold snap, but now it's warm and it shouldn't be, which means we have to go to the shop and get filming and have some fun. But I can actually see grass on the golf course in January. Never before have I seen that. Might be golfing in February, you never know. I think it means that if it warms up, you better get out and have fun before the forest fires come this year. Okay, what's the game plan today? Well, we're supposed to be finalizing this thing. It's giving us grief. We're trying to fire it up, and we have some kind of weird issues going on with the distributor timing and stuff like that we're trying to solve. But this thing over here, this thing had a little problem the other day in the shop, thankfully, and the front wheel locked up on it. I thought maybe the nut came off the hub. Turns out, actually a really simple solution. And the thing about this truck is it's been in 4 different shops. So we don't know what's been done, the quality of work, all that kind of stuff. But this lug right there, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and zoom in. See it moving in the hole? All right. There's the lug comes up. Literally the lug just kind of worked its way through because there was no nut on it. And I guess that lug was not pressed through fully. And it worked its way through, and it's just stopping on the brake caliper somewhere. So that's an easy fix. Wasn't sure what was going on there. Never seen that one before. So it turns out that all of the lugs on the front end of this thing are sitting in there sloppy. Thankfully, I have this awesome tool. That is the 60 volt. Highly recommend this, you guys. It is spectacular for working outside. You know, when you don't want to drag out the air line and all the air tools, that's going to make your life really easy. This thing just rocks. The power. It's the big block of drills. So now we can set this thing on the ground. Yes, that wooden block was what we were using to push this thing in. But now we can set it on the ground and bring it in the shop and bolt some mufflers onto this thing. Make it a little quieter. We got new shocks for it. And we have all the grill and bumpers back from sandblasters, so we can now progress on this awesome wheeling machine, the sled hauler. Let's back it in the shop, you know, where we have no room. Because it's full of big blocks right now. You know, for the last month, I've been looking at pretty much all Ford motors in my shop. And I'm more of a Chevy guy. Mr. White's more of the Ford guy. I have a lot of Fords, but my shop at one point had all Ford powertrains in it. Not anymore. We have 4 big blocks in the shop right now. So let's get this one running. Still got a couple of little issues. The starter seems to want to keep on going when you start this thing. Tranny slips in reverse a little bit. I don't know if it just hasn't built up pressure. It's been sitting for 10 years, so I'm gonna pull the tranny pan off anyway and throw a new filter and gasket kit and have a look inside. And I can tell there's a miss when it's idling. So we got some fun things to play with on this one. So I feel like we're getting somewhere on this thing now. We have all the suspension is all rock guarded and BDS shocks are installed. The Nitro series. What we used was from Rondex. We used Pro Series rock guard. I've tried it on the last couple of frames and it's done really well for us. I did my 1-ton dually in this and it sat outside in the weather and did not rust at all. And I didn't actually even prime it. It's been doing really well. This stuff says you don't have to prime it and it's paintable. I didn't believe them. Apparently they're right. It's doing well so far. But the rock guard's always a little bit flat color-wise. So I'm trying this Duplicolor high build fleet coating in a gloss black. And that's what gives it its shininess. Yeah. It's working. I still got to pull the drive shafts out. I'm going to sand them down by hand and paint them all. And the coilovers will be going in for powder coating. But we have shocks. Oh yeah, we do not have mufflers yet. Let's see. Can't quite see them. So I used the pipes off my Jimmy. They are bent for a square body Chevy. And they fit this thing all the way back until there. And that upper cross member messes things up. So we got to make a few modifications to add the mufflers. And he wants the exits to come right in front of the tires. So we'll have to build the back half of the exhaust. I have to service all the front hubs and everything, but things are looking good. This thing's getting better. I threw some tranny fluid in it and it was just a little bit low. So reverse isn't slipping anymore. I feel like this thing's getting a little closer to being reliable. That is the goal. It has all new spark plugs, plug wires, cap and rotor, and we're still having a little bit of a miss. I'm pretty sure it needs a carb rebuild, is causing the running like crap part. But we're hoping to switch this one over to like a Holley Sniper injection system of some kind at some point. We got to get everything else done first. But that's an expense that this customer's not ready to do yet. But that is the plan. He wants this thing fuel injected so that when he's sledding, we're not dealing with carburetors and issues in the mountains. So I guess let's fire it up and drive down the runway and see what it's like. This is quite possibly the first time this truck's ever been driven, aside from getting onto my trailer. Airplane in the way. Ooh, squealed the tires. The suspension in this thing has so much flex, it's unbelievable. It kind of rocks and rolls a little bit. This thing is clearly built for off-roading. That's pretty cool. I'm getting excited. The sled hauler's coming along. We're getting close. I'm getting really excited. We didn't have so much to do. We could probably have this thing ready in a couple of days. But we got lots to do. So that's it for that thing on a Saturday. We have to progress on this thing. We are dealing with a weird little issue that is the same issue on the 95 Suburban big block that I sold this guy. So next I think we have to drain the fuel tank. I have no idea what fuel's in there, but we have a weird little issue where it fired up, ran for a second, it wants to run, it almost fires up, and it'll spark, it ignites, but it just doesn't stay running. And I saw this issue recently with another car, a new GM car. It turned out they actually had a bunch of water in the fuel tank. It was doing exactly the same thing, and we suspect that's actually what's wrong with the 95 Suburban too. So we're going to drain the fuel tank next because this thing's all completely buttoned up, bolted together. And then hopefully Monday it can leave and go back to work hauling hay the way it was meant to do. I like that truck. That is a cool old truck. Why? Because it's got a big block and it's a dually and it's a crew cab. It's just awesome. All right, once that leaves, the Jimmy's on deck all week. I'm expecting to have the heads back no later than Tuesday, which means we can get busy on this beast. So here's the really cool thing. Cool thing to me anyway. These parts right here, I have had since I was about 18 or 19. I was building a great big monster Chevy when I was young, and I was buying all the engine parts one part at a time because I couldn't afford a lot. It took me years to acquire parts. And of course, you know, build after build after build. You build one, you didn't get through it, you sell it, you build another one, you didn't get through it, you got a little further though, and you sell it, and then you get to this level. So we're talking, I'm going to say probably mid-90s when I bought this. This is a Pete Jackson gear drive, the noisy one. I've had it since the mid-90s. And this is my competition camshaft, part number, it's upside down, 11-214-4, which, let's see, it has a 0.575 lift, lobe separation 102, duration 253. It's a 3,000 to 6,800 operating RPM range with a 10.5 to 1 compression ratio. And that is why I didn't use the cam. I didn't have a motor that had the right compression ratio. This one was on propane, so it's 10.2 to 1. That's close enough for me. But that camshaft, originally when I bought it, I was building a 4-speed truck, and this is an automatic truck, so that means that it's upstairs. I do not have it out right now, but I had to get a TCI 3500 stall converter for nitrous. And then we have an MSD ignition box and a set of MagnaFlow 4-inch round mufflers. Those are the ones that we used on the gray Mustang on our channel that got the most views out of all the Mustangs. Part number 10416. I wanted this thing a little more obnoxious with that new cam and the gear drive. Needed the exhaust to match what we're doing to the motor. So that's what's on deck right now. It's a big block week. Don't forget, if you guys didn't see over on Big Block Nation, there is a video about these. I should probably focus on one channel, but I can't help it. I like to expand on everything. And if I say the same thing on the other channels, I'm sorry. It's a lot to try and keep track of recording for 4 channels. So, you guys have a wonderful Monday while you're watching this. we'll be buried deep inside these projects and filming more for this week.